Hey everybody, Steve here on Highway 99 in Central California. I'm heading up to visit the final resting place of actor Dack Rambo and his brother, his twin brother, Dirk Rambo. Sadly, both of these actors died very young, way before their time, especially Dirk Rambo, who was only 25 when he was killed in an automobile accident. They're both laid to rest together in the city of Delano, or maybe it's Delano, and it's about halfway between Bakersfield and Fresno. So their gravesite doesn't have a GPS, but I think I know approximately where it is. So I guess we'll see when we get there how long it takes me to find their gravesite. But I've been wanting to come up and visit their gravesite or gravesites for, gosh, a couple of years now. And earlier in the year, you may remember, I was up in Reno and I drove back this way on Highway 99, but I just ran out of time and I didn't have time to stop at their cemetery, especially since it didn't have a GPS. I think if it had a GPS and I knew I could get there and find it fairly easily, I would have just gone ahead and stopped. But as you know, sometimes it can take hours and hours, sometimes days, to find a gravesite, especially if it doesn't have a GPS on its Find a Grave Memorial page, which usually makes it a lot easier to find. Well, that's cool. I always love watching trains go by. And since I'm totally lost right now, who knew you could get lost in a tiny little town like Delano? That's a pretty long train. And I think I see the tail end of the caboose, if they have cabooses anymore. I think a lot of times they just have like two engines, one in the front, one in the back, don't they? That's what it looks like here. Okay, so let's see if we can find this cemetery. So this is the east side that I'm in right now, and I'm pretty sure that their grave sites are on the west side, across the street. So, North Kern Cemetery side, let's go across the street and see. And let's see here, Lakemont Road, Lily of the Valley. I'm thinking that it's right in this section here. It's a Sunday morning here, pretty early, around 8 o'clock or so. And, oh, by the way, I know many of you are going to mention how red my eyes are. This time of year, the allergies are really bad for me, and my eyes have been very red, just because of allergies. But up here now in Central California, there's so much smoke that my eyes are, I think, twice as red as normal just from all the smoke. Not to mention that I'm breathing in all of this smoke. I thought by now all of the fires would be out. They've been burning all summer long, and it's fall now, so I thought it would be safe to come up to Northern California, but I guess not. So anyway, if you're wondering why my eyes are so red, that's why. So it's nice to see that Dack Rambo has a newer headstone. It's funny because he did die in 1994. That was quite a long time ago. What was that, like almost 30 years ago? But his brother, Dirk Rambo, I mean, you could just barely read anything on this headstone at all. It's really not aged very well at all. So hopefully a family member or a fan or friends or someone will replace Dirk's headstone with a newer one like Dack's. That would be nice. I mean, they were twin brothers. It would be nice if they had similar headstones and that you could actually read them both. Now, I also just added a GPS to his gravesite. In case you do plan to visit yourself in person, it'll just make it a little bit easier. This is the gate right here. Just come right into the gate, make a left here at this first street, which is Lakemont Road, and then Dirk and Dack are buried right here. So really close to the front gate. But the thing that's a little bit confusing is that the cemetery is split in half by a fairly busy road. One half of the cemetery is on that side of the street, on the east side, and this half is here on the west side of the street. And I want to thank Jeff from the YouTube channel History Hunters, one of my favorite channels. He actually beat me here. We tend to visit a lot of the same cemeteries and grave sites. So even though he didn't pan around, so I really couldn't tell exactly where it was, I was able just to see enough to get an idea. And he did say that it was on the west side. So that was also very helpful. So thank you so much, Jeff, for making this a little bit easier for me to find today. Dirk and Dack were twins. They were born here in this tiny little agricultural town in Central California called Delano, or possibly it's called Delano, I'm not sure. If any of you know, leave a comment and let us know what the correct pronunciation is. They were born on November 13th, 1941, and in the early 1960s, when they were just 20 or 21 years old, they headed down south to Los Angeles, or to Hollywood, where they were discovered by actress Loretta Young in 1962. She signed them to appear in her television show, The New Loretta Young Show, which aired in 1962, and I believe it only aired for one season. But that's all it took for the world to discover Dirk and Dack Rambo. Sadly, Dirk died just 5 years later in 1967 in an auto accident in Hollywood, and he was laid to rest here in his hometown of Delano. Dack, on the other hand, went on to appear in more than half a dozen very popular TV shows and had a very successful career in show business. He lived twice as long as his twin, but he still died very young. He died from AIDS-related complications at the young age of 52. But in his relatively short life, he definitely left a lasting legacy on screen. And I have a list here I'm going to read to you of some of the TV shows he appeared in. And I'm sure you'll recognize him from some, if not all of these. I remember him from almost all of these TV shows. I think probably the most popular, and maybe most people will remember him the most, from his role on the very popular TV show Dallas, which was definitely one of my favorite TV shows of the 1980s. He played J.R. Ewing's cousin, Jack Ewing. But early on, in fact, not long after his brother died, he was signed to play one of the central characters in the TV western The Guns of Will Sonnett, which starred veteran actor Walter Brennan. He also appeared in the TV show Paper Dolls, and he was a regular on two very popular daytime soaps, All My Children and Another World. What show do you remember him most for? I mean, he was in dozens of others as well. He was a very, very busy actor during his very short life. I don't remember when he came out as gay or bisexual. I believe it was after he was diagnosed with AIDS. But this was back in the 1980s. Not every public figure comes out of the closet. In fact, most of them don't. So it was just one more good deed that he did while he was here. So it's nice to be here today to pay my respects to Dirk and Dack and to visit their hometown of Delano. And I especially like that they're laid to rest next to each other. But I definitely do hope that someone will replace Dirk's headstone with a newer one. He definitely deserves to be remembered. And I'm sure Dack would have wanted his brother to have a nice headstone too. So hopefully someone watching this will be able to arrange to make that happen, either through friends or family or a fan club or something. This week I want to thank my newest Patreon supporters, L. Crum, Karen Baugh, Julie Thorburn, and Sue. Thank you so much, Elle, Karen, Julie, and Sue, for your generous donations to my channel. They really are appreciated, and they do help make future trips like this possible. I also want to give a shout out and a very big thank you to all of you who took the time to subscribe to my channel this past week. That's also very appreciated. And last but not least, all of you who leave comments are awesome. And so are your comments, the negative and the positive. I enjoy reading them all. So until our next trip to the cemetery together, thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.